Hey, it's Brendan Howe here with another video in our business problem series, where we tackle issues big and small with proactive technical solutions. So today I have no notes, I have no agenda other than I want to tell you three different stories, and I want to tell you about tackling one of the biggest problems we're seeing, and we keep on seeing it week after week ever since COVID. It's getting worse and worse, and it's cybersecurity. We're seeing people's email accounts get hacked. We're seeing a volume of hacking activity and breaches and stuff like that that's really alarming. And so what I want to do today is just plead with you as a business executive, as a business leader, business owner, organization executive director, whatever role you have, is to just think about cybersecurity and think about the impact on your organization, and particularly the impact if you don't do anything. And so let me tell you, I'm going to tell you these three stories. Okay, first story. So I was talking to a gentleman the other day, and he said, "Oh, we emailed out a invoice to one of our clients, and in sort of regular affairs, they sent out this PDF file that had an invoice, and in the invoice it had the bank details of where the client was to transfer money and pay." A couple days later, gets a call from the client, and the client says, "Why, why are you telling me to wire money to a Hong Kong bank account? This seems very bizarre." So what had happened is that somebody hacked the client's email account and saw the invoice come in, and that enterprising hacker had taken that PDF, edited it, changed the bank details, and then emailed it again to the client, and it looked all kind of official and stuff like that. And if the client hadn't picked up on, hey, it's a little bit weird that there's a Hong Kong bank account, they would have sent a bunch of money to somebody else's bank account and lost that money. Is that a big deal? But wasn't that big of a deal. Here's a bigger one. So we brought on a new client recently. And in the course of our initial checks, or initial security checks, we looked at their Office 365 setup. And we looked at, as part of the regular auditing we do against best practices standards, we looked at their setup, and we found that there was a forward on one of their staff emails. So we did some more investigation, and one of our guys, who's sort of a genius in sort of scripting and investigating the stuff and that sort of thing, found out that this forward had been put on this email account over a year ago. And the forward was to a Russian email address. And so every single email that was sent through to this email address was getting forwarded to Russia. And it had been happening for literally a year. And the enterprising hacker had put some code in so that the sent emails, when it was forwarded on, would just get deleted. And if there were any bounce backs from the Russian email server, they would automatically get deleted, so that it was virtually undetectable. And it was only because we were doing these proactive checks that we noticed that this was in place. And so what we're seeing more and more of this, right? What happens is, probably what happened in that case is the staff member clicked on a link. They thought it was legitimate. It said, enter your Microsoft 365 user and password. They put it in, and it allowed this hacker to get into their email account and monitor it. And what these folks do is they sit in the weeds and they watch for an email that might say, hey, send some money here, or pay this invoice, or some sort of way that they can profit. Or maybe they're looking to steal trade secrets or competitive intelligence, or that sort of thing. So in this case, we came across somewhere where somebody had literally for an entire year been monitoring, had a compromised email system. So, and then the last case, another case where somebody was susceptible to, somebody had fallen for a phishing attack, and somebody one of these hackers had hacked into their email account. This gentleman was a CEO of a company, and he was working back and forth with the supplier, and the supplier said, yeah, if you could transfer X amount of money, I think it was about $40,000, $50,000. And And originally they said, yeah, just send us a check. And so the CEO said, okay, we'll send the check off and we'll get it paid. Then 5 or 6 hours later, he gets an email and said, actually, because of COVID, we'd prefer if you could do this via bank transfer. Here's the information on our bank account. Now, that second email actually came from the hacker that had infiltrated the CEO's account. And so CEO, thinking that this was a legitimate email, forwarded it on to a CFO, and they wired the $40,000 or $50,000 off to this other off to this other bank account, thinking that they pay this invoice. And then they found out a week or two later when the supplier followed up and said, "Hey, we haven't received a check, we haven't received our money." They found out that they'd sent that money off to essentially to a hacker. So here's the underlying issue in all these cases. It's becoming easier and easier, more and more common for our staffs, our teams, our own email accounts to get hacked through 365, right? The phishing attacks are getting better and better. So many of us are working sometimes from the office, sometimes from home, and we're a little bit distracted, right? Our staff are distracted. Our staff are probably a little bit more distracted than we are. What's happening is that the risk level is way, way higher. So if you don't have multi-factor authentication in your email, the risk is way high, way, way high. So what I wanted to do today is just talk about that solution. From a security perspective, somebody's got to be looking at your systems on an ongoing basis. And at the very least, they should be coming forward to you with items like, hey, multi-factor authentication is now not an option. I know it's a bit of a pain in the butt when you first implement it, but you have to put it in place. Otherwise, your staff's emails accounts are going to get hacked. Otherwise, you could potentially be a victim of wire fraud. There's all sorts of things that can happen, and that needs to be in place. So there you go. Here I am imploring you, please take cybersecurity seriously. Make sure you're looking at things. You've got somebody giving you that advice on an ongoing basis. That's how we do it. That's what we call intelligent technology. We think that's super, super important, that every month your security is getting better and better and better. That's critical I know it's critical for our clients, and I hope it's critical for you too. Please reach out. Any questions about this, I'd be happy to talk. In the meantime, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, which has now had over 1 million views in terms of our videos. So thank you very much, and have a great day.